Good morning as we spring forward today. Ooh, we've got a sound going on. We will figure that one out. Let's see, I'm going to mute right now, and so we can figure that out. And as we do, my name is Tamara Hunter, and this is the Tour of Love Sunday show, where we share the love because we believe that in sharing that love, we are going to raise the frequency, the energy of our earth together. And boy, we can then heal through connections. I am Tamara Hunter, one of the co-hosts. I am joined by my other co-hosts, and that would be, we're going to start with Skip Poe. We've got Skip Poe with us, and Skip Poe, as you can probably tell, is in the Arkansas area in a beautiful cabin. And then coming from Canada, we have one of our other co-hosts. We have Caroline Berzins. Caroline Berzins is also, she doubles as a few different things. I guess you could say triple. She is a senior ambassador for the nonprofit that we support here at Tour of Love, and that is cb4l.org. And she is also the assistant producer for this show and Service Heroes show. And Skippo is on the board of directors, among so many other things, for the nonprofit. Today, we are welcoming with us the founders of the Loving Meditation app, Tamara Green. David. Oh, we found the culprit. Okay, it's coming from the live mic in your squared, Tamara and David, or possibly it's one of the others. We have an Emmy Award-winning sound guy with us. We'll figure it out. We have Tamara Green and David Dachinger, who have together, they have amazing separate careers, yet together they have found an app that is making a difference for the community we serve and for so many others. So I want to say thank you to all of you that are here right now. Also, those that are joining us on live, we have Caroline. We are live on the E360 TV platform, and we've got Andrea and her daughter, Ashley. We're very happy whenever you guys show up. Thank you for being here. And we have a special, we are going to dedicate this show. And I am going to turn it over to our senior ambassador, one of my co-hosts, Caroline Berzins, to share who it is that we are dedicating this show to. Caroline?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. So we are dedicating the Tour of Love to Linda Lee, who is was one of our buddies in the CB4L community. Linda and I became buddies in August of 2020, and I was her cheerleader, basically cheered her on all the things that she was doing to get stronger. I watched her go up and down 16 stairs, that she never thought that she would be able to do again, because she never thought she would be able to walk again. Linda Lee was a very strong woman, and she never let anything stop her from going forward. So this is who we are dedicating this show to today.
Thank you, Caroline. And we want to hear from Linda Lee herself. Skip Poe helped to produce, along with Caroline, a segment that we shared on the Tour of Love streaming live event, the 36 hours that took place Giving Tuesday, the end of last year. This is Linda Lee in her own words.
My cancer journey started in 2017 when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I had a lumpectomy in November 2017 with 2 lymph nodes that were taken out with some micrometastasis. I completed over 30 radiation treatments to the breast and to the neck region. And then I also completed 6 chemotherapies with the Taxotere and Cytoxin. Started doing post-treatment of tamoxifen and thought I was done with my cancer journey, or I was hopeful that I was done with my cancer journey, until this year when I started, I was a nurse working in public health during the COVID crisis. I was doing testing and I was doing case management for positive patients, as well as doing contact tracing like we hear about in the news. And everything had shut down about mid-March. And one morning I woke up and my left hip hurt, and it got progressively worse and worse. And so although I don't physically have breast cancer in my breast, the breast cancer spread to my left hip and also spread to my liver. And so as of January of this year, I lost the ability to walk. I was in agonizing pain and completely unable to walk. Worked hard to stay positive, to take life one day at a time, because I didn't know if I was ever going to walk again. I didn't know if I was going to live. At that point, the doctors said maybe 2 to 5 years of life. So I've had to do a lot of internalizing and thinking and planning and determining, how am I going to live my life? Am I going to live my life in the present? Am I going to look towards the future? Am I able to make plans for the future? And although I am living my life one day at a time, I am optimistic and I look forward to living for the future and making plans for the future. And that's where Chemo Buddies has come in and been so helpful during this whole time, where I can meet up and talk with people who are going through similar battles, similar struggles, similar diagnosis, or maybe it's a completely different diagnosis. I'm able to meet and talk to people who have been through this journey, who are going through this journey, who will go through this journey, and talk to them where they're at. We have good days, we have not so good days. And just being able to come to a safe zone at Chemo Buddies and talk to people and be there for people and love people where they're at, and realize that every day is special to be cherished, and go from there. Not all of us have great outcomes with cancer, but we can still choose how we battle cancer. And I love Chemo Buddies because they help me each day feel loved, supported, nurtured. I've met a whole bunch of new friends. And when I'm having a rough day, I can reach out to a Chemo Buddy, one of the partners, and just tell them, I am having a rough day. Here's what happened. And they nurture and love me despite myself. So I'm incredibly appreciative. I'm incredibly eager to battle this hip cancer and this liver cancer. I've been incredibly blessed during this process by my friends, my family, my church, by Chemo Buddies. And at this point, I am starting to be able to walk. I am going through physical therapy twice a week. It's a journey. Every day is a journey. Every day is a process. Every day we make choices for how we're going to live our life. And I choose to be positive. I choose to love others, and I choose to love others through this process. And I'm just incredibly thankful to Chemo Buddies for allowing me to be nurtured and for me to nurture others through this journey. Thank you so very much, and I look forward to working with Chemo Buddies for life.
So in honor of who we called Linda Lee, yes, Linda Gulliver, we want to welcome all of you today for this show. Skippo, I'm going to let you take it from here right now and have you introduce yourself and then introduce our amazing duo in Tamara and David.
Hello, everybody, and great to be here. And thank you, Tamara and David, for joining us in this hour. Certainly, we all have something in common. And of course, Caroline was a personal buddy throughout her journey. And we all look at this as a journey and how the buddy system and relationships make a huge difference. My background was I've been in film and television for a long time, many decades. And have about 11 years ago, I found out I had cancer. And one of the things I think she said in her testimonial there was sometimes we can't pick, have control over events that happen to us, but we can control how we react to that. And certainly 11 years ago, when I was told I had cancer, it opened up a whole kind of new chapter in my life that everything was quite different. And I had various choices that I could make on how to react to that, as we all have. And today we have two wonderful people here, David and Tamara, who like to hear a little bit about how this relates to your story and what inspired you both to do what you're doing, which is pretty amazing.
Right. It seems like the theme that's coming up today is choice. And of course, we have choice in everyday life on every level. The cancer brings that choice to the forefront because now we're confronted with something completely life-altering on a minute-to-minute basis. And so for us, our personal experience, my personal experience was complete shock, overwhelm, and numbness on the diagnosis. And it probably took us 2 weeks to kind of come
a little bit longer.
Yeah, even longer to come back to, at least to be present on some level. And that's when we were starting to make choices. How are we going to live our lives? How are we going to work cancer into, our family, our work life, our routine?
Choosing our attitude.
And then, especially how are we going to change our attitude? What are choices going to be for looking at cancer maybe in a different way and not looking at it like it's the worst thing that's ever happened, but perhaps there's some gift in it. And so those are just a couple of them. But we also chose to change how we spent our time, what we focused on.
So before David's cancer diagnosis, we were a little too serious, and we took a life a little too seriously. And so when David, I think it was when your treatment was really starting to die down. It was after the surgery because David had the radiation, the chemo, and then surgery. So it was after that on Friday nights we deemed as dancing night. So we get the disco ball out and we dance to funk music, our favorite.
Yeah, the funkier the better.
Exactly. So we would laugh. So even now we just laugh so much more. So even as I'm so glad, Tamara, that you dedicated this episode to Linda, because really we hear everything that she went through, and through all of that, she was still choosing to, receive the support, to love back, and to be grateful. And it just really warmed my heart listening to Linda in her video. And that's, that's what it's all about, right? She was living life probably to the very end. And that's what we all are here to do, live our lives.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, so sorry. Skip.
Go ahead, Tamara.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, right. And just to let you know, Skip Poe, that we do have a video clip of when it is that Tamara and David heard those words that they have had produced. And I thought maybe we should share that now. And then you can go into what you were going to, because it shows kind of like really in that moment what it felt like. So here we go.
In September 2013, David's doctor spoke the 5 words no one ever wants to hear.
Sitting in the doctor's office, listening to the doctor tell my husband, you have stage 4 cancer. Wait, what just happened?
That moment, my whole life changed.
For most of us, coping with cancer is highly stressful and challenging. But what if you could transform your cancer journey to one of calm, peace, and relief?
My husband started the chemo and radiation, and here he was, such a strong man, and getting weaker, feeling worse every day.
I would watch and listen to meditations during those hours in the chair in the infusion center. It really helped me through the fear, and it gave my mind some positive input.
After conquering cancer, David and his wife Tamara created the Loving Meditations app, designed to reduce the stress and discomfort often felt by cancer patients, caregivers, and survivors. Loving Meditations delivers powerful daily programs for anxiety, fear, sleep, nausea, and pain.
I'm actually able to go into these treatments now very calm, very relaxed. I have no nausea and no vomiting.
Imagine you're sitting in the infusion center receiving a cocktail of IV medications, anticipating discomfort with lots of time in your hands. You remember that you have the Loving Meditations app on your device. Simply press play and enjoy a calming meditation. Whether you close your eyes or watch the beautiful images, you'll be transported to a space of relaxation within minutes.
So Loving Meditations is a wonderful app for me. I'm a caregiver. I'm also a cancer patient myself. It really helps me bring it down several notches. It's very accessible. I've got it uploaded on my phone, thank God.
Escucho las meditaciones varias veces a la semana y se siente una paz increíble. Tiene una energía muy especial.
Go to calmcancerstress.com to get the free Loving Meditations app.
Thank you, David and Tamara, for Love Meditations.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. That one of the questions, and certainly as you said in the video, David, and having had cancer, being in the doctor's office and being told that, obviously fear, denial, a lot of emotions that aren't necessarily very productive start to come up, and they can overwhelm. I was very alone in that process. And oftentimes one of the things we talk about is being able to shift that to something higher. And you mentioned laughter, you mentioned, love as we move down into those kind of negative, kind of destructive energies of apathy or shame or guilt or grief, fear, which I went through a list of them, even anger, until I could get to the point of being willing to face this as we move kind of in that where it says 200 is the neutral area, and we start to move up in that. How important, and this app is so amazing, and you're doing a number of things. I looked on your website, but one of the things we talk about is it's one thing to wake up one day and say, okay, I'm going to look at this differently, but to have a practice that you can carry like a tool box, and that's what you guys have created. How important was that in both of your process? You did this together. How important was that reaction in shifting that vibration into a higher vibration of just willingness, acceptance, to love? How did that process migrate and inspire you? And what's the difference that you saw it make, not only in your lives, but it's apparently making a difference in beautiful testimonies in that video? That was a beautiful video.
Yeah, it's a profound question, Skip. Thank you for asking it. There are so many different ways that we found on our path to start to take it out of the dark, down in the muck place and start to elevate it slowly. It's a process. But some of it is connections. Some of it is making the connection with other people going through the same thing, even connection with the healthcare providers who are there showing up to help you. I went into resisting it. And honestly, my first experience in chemo was very negative, and I felt like, a cancer patient. As things changed and I was able to move into a different part of the hospital, had actually better care, and started to make those connections, I started to look at it like, this is an interesting journey. Maybe instead of being this horrible, the worst thing ever happened to me, now how can I look at this like it's a epic survival adventure? So I made a choice there, and I'm like, okay, let's see what my body's capable of, and let's see how we can turn this around together. And some of it's like making sure that the people that are in the journey with you are also making some of those changes and shifts to take care of themselves, and to not just take care of their minds, but also take care of their bodies, because we can't forget, the body is connected, where it's where we reside. So I'll let you share a little bit about your experience.
Yeah, it's funny because I actually even remember, I'm like, ooh, David's making a transition. I noticed it because it was the focus, his focus changed. What he was placing most of his attention on changed. And it certainly happened for me as well. So, besides loving meditations, one thing that I've been doing for the past, 27, 28 years is I'm a psychotherapist. I have a private practice. And so my whole, career has been about helping people to make that shift. And to answer your question, Skip, how important it is, how important is it to make that shift? Oh my gosh, so important. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that's so important for people to know. And that is, if you're really down in the dumps and you're really depressed or you're really angry, don't try to, ignore that to be positive or to be grateful. No, embrace it completely. In other words, be present with everything that's going on. The more present you are to your angry, just allow yourself to just go, dagnammit, I'm so angry that I have cancer, or that I'm a caregiver, or even, struggling as a survivor, whatever. I am so pissed off. And you may want to repeat it over and over and over and over again, because what you're doing is emotions and feelings are literally trying to leave our system, but by ignoring them or trying to be positive instead, they don't go anywhere. They stay stuck. But by expressing them, writing them out, sharing them with somebody, which is so fantastic about chemo buddies, right? Perfect. You're releasing it. Then at that point, you could probably then go to, I love that scale, that cone. You can shift from a fear-based emotion to a love-based or action or behavior to a love-based. So you can start getting curious, like David got really curious. Hey, what can my body do? What's the choice I have right now? Or maybe it's compassion for yourself or others, which also chemo buddy, wow, that's great. Compassion, support, those are all, along the lines of a loving energy that's behind that. So very important, but yet you got to be really present and authentic and real with what's really coming up.
Beautiful. David, as you were talking, I mean, the words were right out of the script I've heard so often from Tamara Hunter up there, Tamara, California, as we call her, and we got Tamara in New York. But that same process of being present and shifting, our first reaction was, fear or whatever. But to go into, as she did with the chemo rooms and shifting that, you could relate to, I'm sure, Tamara Hunter, to what David was talking about shifting that. And oftentimes we go in there and we look at things to heal us or be done to us from outside. What everybody here is, I'm hearing, is, as David said, what can my body do? The power within us, in our mind, our heart, our soul, our spirit. Tamara Hunter, I mean, that relates to what happened with your experience, right?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I'll never forget it. I'm sitting there as they're preparing me for my very first, I'm in the chemotherapy chair, and we knew I was going to get a large dose of Benadryl because of my past history. They go into it. For anybody that doesn't know, they'll go into how are you showing up with your body and your past medical history. Well, we knew I was going to be getting a large dose of Benadryl, and that plays into this later. And as they're doing this, I see this woman that's coming in with this rolling suitcase, and she's like owns the place, and she's like, okay, where's my first class ticket? Where's my chair? And she's funnier than craziness. And I'm watching her, and I'm chuckling to myself. Oh, this one's a funny one. And then what ends up happening is, because of the big amount of Benadryl, I fall asleep. And her assistant, her person, her daughter, to the first class, passenger, she woke me up. And the two of us, the first class passenger and myself, we were the ones that ended up becoming the chemo buddies, the original ones for life. And so then our nurses would set us up right next to each other, because they knew that when we came, that the whole chemotherapy room would completely, the frequency would change, and that people were giggling. We were having fun. It was like a party every time we came, and we got the nickname Double Trouble and the Party Bus. And, and it was a matter of shifting it. So what did we do when we had our graduation? We didn't ring a bell. No, we had Beach Boys playing. We had coconut bras on the chemo poles, and we had big pink hair, and we had a luau, and everyone that came for chemotherapy that day knew they were invited to a luau. So we had people coming for chemotherapy in luau gear, like Hawaiian shirts and Hawaiian dresses, and they were all ready for a party. And that's what they got, because it's a matter of attitude. It's a matter of shifting it, that energy, that vibe, right?
Yeah, pick your vibe. We've said that so often. And it's and especially in a community, how powerful and contagious. Even your doctor said you guys need to bottle that.
Yeah.
And Caroline, you as a senior ambassador and a personal buddy to Linda, you've been a part of this group, and you've seen that shifting of energy, or that connection, as David put it, make a difference in people's lives. Can you share a little bit about what you witnessed and what keeps you passionate about what you're doing with this community?
Well, what I see that shifted in our group is, when we have the talks with our buddies, and we ask them, what is showing up for you in the moment, that brings them down. So we try to bring up their vibration. So a lot of times we just listen to their story to understand what their day is like, and just be that support person. And I have seen a lot of change in some of our buddies, just in attitude, and start to shift to the positive side. And just by us quoting, putting quotes out every day with positive information on it, and having them see them and read them every day, has really made a difference in a lot of our buddies.
Beautiful. Well, and everything, as we've talked about, being, frequency, everything's frequency, and our emotions, the furniture, our bodies, we're, and to resonate, just like she was talking about dancing. You've seen studies done back decades ago of people, and they plant somebody in the crowd and he starts dancing. Everybody first goes, well, that's kind of weird, and all of a sudden another person joins in, another person, and pretty soon everybody's up dancing which shifts that powerful energy, as Tamara did in the chemo room, and as you guys chose to do. You guys have a number, Tamara and David, a number of tools. I was looking on your website, and tell us a little bit about that. I mean, you've got the app, which is, again, a practice. You've also got, I saw waiting room television. You've got a few other things where you have events, and all of that relates to really picking the vibe or making a shift with the frequency. And stage 4 is pretty serious. To be able to see a difference, oftentimes you had great medical care, I'm sure, but the difference that picking that vibe made in your lives, in both of your lives, you guys have put it to work and now seeing it happen in other people's lives as well. Tell us a little bit about all the things you've got going on your website.
Yeah, thanks, Skip. We were driven by our experience to create something to pay it forward to others who are going through the cancer journey. And one of them was that downtime in the chemo chair, the downtime in between treatments, where you can simply take your phone or your iPad, put in your earbuds, and use it as a constructive time to shift into some more positive mindset. So the Loving Meditations app, we call it Bringing Calm to Cancer, is simply that. It's an app where we have dozens and dozens of different activations, meditations, and some are simply just stories or broadcasts from our Peaceful Oasis live show, where some of them are as long as 20 minutes and some of them are as quick as 1 minute, where you can shift really quickly. And we like to call it an immersive experience, where we bring together the visual and the audio part. And then many times it's Tamara's voice guiding somebody, but we also have collaborators from around the world who are amazing in their own right, who also bring their talent and their message and their voice to the app. So that's a little bit about the Loving Meditations app, and then I'll let you talk about the other stuff we do.
We have a book that David and I wrote together. David wrote it from the patient perspective. I wrote it from the caregiver perspective, and it's called Live Calm with Cancer and Beyond. In this book, there's quite a bit of tips and also meditations at the end of each chapter. And you talk about the waiting room TV. That's your baby.
And so when we receive medical care, whether it's going to the doctor for your annual physical or going week after week for chemo, radiation, and the other parts of cancer treatment, before COVID, we spent a lot of time in the waiting room waiting for, them to call your name and say, okay, you're up next. So for us, that was 7 weeks of, day in, day out, waiting. And of course, sometimes you're waiting for a scan, diagnostic, follow-ups. It gets so stressful because your mind's like racing, like, okay, if it's a scan, what are they going to find? I'm like, clear, am I not clear? Is it getting worse? So we realized all these waiting rooms, or quite a few of them, had the news, right? Fox News or some kind of really high-paced talk show, loud game show. And it was stressing us out even more. So we were like, let's create something that's calming, that has positive messages, and that people can look at during that wait time and kind of bring them down a few notches so they can be a little more calm, a little more at ease when they're going in for their medical treatment.
Yeah. Well, don't they call when you have the high blood pressure when you first get in there, the white coat syndrome, because you know, and I don't know about you guys, but I always tell them, take my blood pressure after we've had a chance to talk, because there's that's your body actually will test with a higher blood pressure. It's a whole physiology to it. And so that's absolutely brilliant. I also have a clip to share because you have one other thing that's going on with your show. So I'm going to at least show a little bit about here you go.
Welcome to Peaceful Oasis Live, the Loving Meditations concert series, where we feature masters of meditation, musicians, artists, poets, and storytellers. In each episode, we take you deep into a state of relaxation with our guests as they share inspiring activations or meditations performed with expansive music. Sign up for our newsletter to get upcoming events and inspirations delivered to your inbox. Go to peaculoasislive.com to receive event news and to view past episodes. We appreciate you, our viewers, and your wonderful comments and suggestions supporting our mission for peace and calm.
And you've just gone on to the E360 TV platform, haven't you?
We have, yeah.
Yep.
When does your show air?
It's the second and fourth Wednesdays of each month. It's every other week. So there's 2 months out of the year where there's actually 3 episodes, but it's typically is it? No, maybe it's the first and third.
Well, we just did one on the 10th, and we have another one coming up on the 24th.
Right.
So
So let's look at what that would be. That's the second and the fourth. Yes, second and the fourth. And what channel are you on?
We're on the Health and Wellness channel. It's 7 p.m. Wednesday evenings Eastern time.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's about an hour-long show. And this came out of COVID, where we're like, we want to do something that's fun. We want to kind of bring some more calm and peace to people that are stressing out, not only with cancer, but now on top of that with COVID. Like, we have friends that going through cancer treatment where now they can't bring their loved ones into the treatment. There's all kinds of other measures and challenges in place. So this was kind of inspired by that. And what we do is called a meditation concert. It starts out with a conversation with an expert or a thought leader. And then about midway through, we do a 15 to 20 minute live music and meditation or activation concert together. And then we wrap up with some more conversations. So that's Peaceful Oasis Live.
And Tamara, as you said in the very beginning, he is a 2-time Grammy nominated composer and engineer. So if you can just imagine, we're in our studio where we do our broadcast, and David is literally playing live all different kinds of instruments. Doing meditations, and some of them are just, they just really take you to a whole nother place of real peace and calm. It's been really amazing.
How fun is that? Look at that. And okay, yes, sometimes I have that I've done that. I've given quite a few awards out lately. I've given Skip Poe Oscars, though it should be an Emmy, and then I give you an Emmy, though it should be Grammy. So we have fun around here.
It's all good, and you guys are amazing. The homework that you do and preparation is really impressive.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, your background in sound and music, David, and as we talked about everything being frequency. The effect that has, because like you were saying earlier, our mind starts wondering about this or that, and we can go into the fear or what's this test or what does the doctor, all these anticipation, this white coat syndrome, as Tamara Hunter said. What does sound, does that bring you back into a present moment, the sound part of this, and loving meditation? A lot of people, you talk about meditation, they go, I can't calm my mind down long enough to meditate for 1 minute, as people, that's often an excuse. How powerful meditation and why loving meditation and sound fits into this for you, because I can relate as a somewhat musician, more beer drinkers around a campfire kind of stuff, but I can relate to what you're saying. Tell me about how powerful that is and why you felt like this is the approach.
Sure. It totally is powerful and can shift you into another state almost instantly, if not instantly. And it is sound, and it's also the visuals, the imagery. There are profound images that can really make a huge difference. They've done studies with nature images that with people who are in hospitals and seen how they have much better outcomes just even looking at pictures of nature. But there's so much to music and sound that can have a positive effect on people, whether they're in a state of wellness or a state of illness. We work with people that use things like crystal bowls, singing bowls, native flutes. We have Tibetan bowls. The voice is powerful. And so the harp is amazing. We have an amazing collaborator who's a world-class harpist. She's a breast cancer survivor named Amy Cami, and she, in her own right, creates amazing healing music with her harp. So all these things are kind of like the palette that we like to play with to create some of our immersive experiences. And to get to your point, Skip, about people who say, I can't meditate because my mind is too active, I'm thinking too much. It's totally true. It's totally valid. In today's day and age, it's difficult to ask people to take a deep breath, let alone quiet your mind. They are stressed out, and understandably so. And we're now using new, what I'll call meditation technology that cuts away all that stuff. You're not asking people to quiet your mind. You're not asking people to take deep breaths and to put any effort into it. We're creating effortless meditation experiences where people can use some really simple techniques to shift in as quickly as 1 minute.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sound is, I think it's probably the first thing that even the fetus, there's no language developed yet. It's the sound. So as a psychotherapist, when I ask my clients, what's that thing that you turn to when you're really stressed and you need to calm down? And probably about 8 out of 10 times they will, if it's not nature, they'll say music or sound. I got to listen to something to, calm the mind. It's so powerful. It's such a good question, Skip. It's so powerful.
Well, and Tamara Hunter, you've got so many people in the community who you have branched out into different tools and approaches to what you guys are talking about, of healing through art or healing through music. Talk a little bit, Tamara Hunter, a little bit about, how you're seeing that evolve, because you've got some amazing people who are coming together and expressing their talents, but that's making a difference. And do you see a difference in the community?
Oh, huge difference in the community. For example, behind Caroline Berzins, you see all of her art. She's done some of the evening events that we've done, because we do a chat sometime during the day, every single day, where we get together. And she's done do it yourself. How can you do that yourself? How can you? And then recently she's been writing very openly about, and what takes place in there stays in there. So we won't tell exactly what, but she's been sharing about her experiences with her art. It's inspired others to be doing the same. And in fact, we do have Christopher Kaysen, who is one of our leadership, and many know him for having a podcast and also Autism to Artism, and he is going to be leading an activity that we're going to be doing, healing through art, where all of the buddies will be wherever they are. They'll be tapping in, they'll have their supplies, and we will be all doing art at the same time. Another thing we do is a lot of healing through music. And in fact, I'm going to share a little piece right now, because actually, Poe, you were involved with helping to produce one of the original songs. You've written one of our original songs. I'm not going to share that one right now, but we have another one that was written by our organization, and then you helped produce and sing and play guitar in it. And so we have so many different, and you've actually produced a few of our clips when it comes to healing through music, and we tag them all, because many of our buddies will say in the middle of the night they go in and they want to listen to their songs because they're their songs. It's our verbiage, it's our message, and it's in the music. And so then it goes in to them, and then they're like, okay, yeah, I can get through this. I can go on. And we are seeing such significance in regards to even test results and life, quality of life, and so much more. Here's the song that I was sharing. It is We Are the Ones.
Together we are stronger than sadness. Together we are stronger than cancer. Together we are stronger. We are one, we are love, we are hope, we are the ones to change the world with our hearts. We are one, we are love, we are hope, we are the ones to change the world with our hearts. Heal my hope, heart, heart, love, love, love. Heal my hope, heart, heart, love, love, love. Heal my hope, heart, heart, love, love, love. Heal my hope, heart, heart, love. We are one, we are love, we are hope, we are the ones to change the world with our hearts. We are one, we are love, we are hope, we are the ones to change the world with our hearts. We are the ones to change the world with our hearts.
I love that song. And so to answer it and complete is that we have healing through art, healing through music, healing through nature, healing through animals, healing through so many things. But the most important is healing through connections and learning with resident experts, different people coming in that are specialists within different areas, and so that we can heal through connection with ourselves, heal through connection with a buddy or buddies, and heal through connection within community. And we are definitely seeing, in fact, what I am always told is that the community is like a family. It's like a big, warm fuzzy is what Dr. Chilbriska also will say. So there you go.
Well, and I love, David, what you were, you used that word connection early on in this hour, and how whether it's being in the present moment, be it another person, be it a group of people, be it the music or art or nature on a screen or going out in nature and connecting, that word connection is so critical. And I also appreciate what you said. I mean, yeah, we're here. A lot of us have experienced cancer or have a loved one who has, and looking for tools or ways to help them navigate through it. And you brought up this whole COVID and so many things going on in this world that's a shift, no matter where you are. I mean, right here, you guys are in New York, and Tamara Hunter's in California, and Carolina's in Canada, and I'm in the hills of Arkansas. But wherever you are, and we have a lot of people, overseas, but how important that is to that connection of community, and through a tool like what you guys have created, is really going to be so important in these coming days, because we're going through some big shifts around the world, and having reliable tools. And again, I go back to this is a tour of love, and that loving meditation as to the question, what's love got to do with it? Like the song, how about you guys, Tamara and David, what's love got to do with it?
It's got everything to do with it. In my personal experience, the love that I received from Tamara during my cancer journey was huge. She showed up and was present there 100% every step of the way. And I'll never know exactly what effect that had, but I know in my heart that it was huge. First of all, to not have to go through it on my own, but secondly, to have someone who was just not only unconditionally loving, but also she can tell you herself, she kind of let go of attachment to, what was going to happen next. In other words, we were just, I was showered by her, not worrying about the final result, because I had stage 4 cancer. I could have gone, I could have continued living, or I could have gotten worse and not, passed on. And in some ways, letting go of that attachment was huge, and being around that kind of love. And Skip, you also talked a little bit about our connection and how we can support our friends and family with cancer. And sometimes, we want to do something, but in my experience, my friend showing up and just sitting there with me and watching some football, or just sitting there with me and, joking, such a simple thing, but it made all the difference in the world, much more meaningful to me than a refrigerator full of food, or, some balloons or something. It's that connection, and it's that love that really are huge.
Yeah. Love, right? Just like that cone thing, right, Skip? Love is way up there.
It's way up there. And it's not necessarily easy to just jump from fear, which is where I was. Finally, I got anger, which is, you can see anger is up a little higher, and that actually is creating a little more energy. At least some things are moving instead of moving down into apathy, where just hardly any energy is moving. But if you look at this as a ladder, taking that step by step, because you hear, just be in joy or bliss or love. It's hard. And Tamara Green, I would, from your profession, is to jump from a low level of apathy or fear to suddenly love. Sometimes that seems so hard to reach, but walking through that step by step, even when I had COVID, I thought, okay. And I was, fearful and to the point of sometimes apathy, but I got it started. I thought, I'm going to get angry at this thing. And I could feel the energy shifting. I wasn't in a positive, courage or willingness, accepted, but I could feel things changing as I shifted or picked my vibe, as we talked about. How important, Tamara Green, is that? And have you seen it in some of the people you work with?
Yeah, what you described, Skip, is what I refer to my clients as a path of consciousness, or path to consciousness. So basically, when we're really hit hard in a crisis, oftentimes we're numb, and we're not even aware of what we're feeling, actually. And then oftentimes we move into that, why me? Why us? God, why? You kind of go into that like self-pity party phase. And then oftentimes that moves us right into anger. And you're right, Skip, that takes us right into action. And out of that self-pity, right? And then that anger is usually the motivation for change, like real change. For me personally, as a caregiver, when I saw David getting so sick, our son at the same time, by the way, had Lyme disease, and he was going through quite a bit as well. And I was exhausted. I was tired. I wasn't sleeping. I was worried. I was getting like frustrated and angry. And I said, just show me a sign. And the next morning, literally, and it's in our book, literally the angels sculpted the most beautiful ice etching on our frosty windshield in the morning. It's really incredible. We had the photo in our book. But that was my sign. That was my sign, like, oh, okay. I got the sign that David talked about me not being attached. At that moment, I just wasn't attached anymore. At that moment, I knew that I was to be love in action. That was my mantra. I am to be in love in action. What loving thing can I say? What loving thing can I do right now for David, for myself, for our son? And so back to the path to consciousness, anger often then leads to, it's interesting, it often leads to, getting help or reaching out and finally receiving some report like Chemo Buddies or loving meditations. And then it goes into gratitude, just like Linda in the very beginning was talking about how grateful she was to receive that report, that support, just like we hear from the people that listen to our app. And then from there, it goes into a complete surrender after gratitude. It's like a surrender of like, you know what, life is showing up exactly, it's showing up for me, not against me. It really is about, it's a journey to love, for self-love or or loving exactly where we are in life. So it's an interesting path we take, and it's an important one.
Tamara Hunter, we get about time to bounce. I want to say hi to everybody watching and thank you for the wonderful comments.
Yes. It's time to start going around the helm, as we say, and get our last minute nuggets and tell everybody that has joined us today on the Tour of Love Sunday show that we are so glad that you have, and we encourage you to come back again and bring others to watch with us live. And yes, support us through your comments. And also, if you have anyone that is in need of what it is that we're sharing today, that someone that needs that healing through connection with a buddy, or you need someone, or someone that could really benefit from loving meditation app, please share this out. Share it out and share it out some more. Come back, and I'm going to let you guys each have a moment, 30 seconds to last minute say something, and then we'll be back on Sunday next week.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, Tamara and David, go ahead.
Please be so ever so compassionate and loving toward yourself during your journey, whatever that journey is. Be so kind to yourself.
Today is actually a very special day because exactly 7 years ago today, I was walking down the hallway to the operating room for the surgery where they removed some cancerous lymph nodes in my neck. And thought it was interesting. I'm walking, they're not wheeling me down here. And then I realized, this is not just a physical healing journey, it's an emotional healing journey as well. And that's something we should all always keep in mind, is that, we can heal ourselves physically, but we also need to continually heal ourselves emotionally.
That's beautiful. Thank you. And I'm excited about the Loving Meditation app. I'm going to download it because, again, load up your toolbox for things that you can create that practice with. And meditation and being present and having a little helpful tool like what you guys have created, I'm excited. So thank you for being here, and thank you for all you do.
Thank you guys for all you do. And this is a beautiful platform.
Caroline, you asked 20 seconds.
Thank you, Tamara and David, for joining us today and joining the Tour of Love. And my nugget for today is to keep remembering that you are loved, and that if you share your story, it releases a lot of emotions in you.
And we want to again say, we love you, Linda Gulliver. It's for you. Bye.